Okay, so we laugh. So how's everybody?
Hi.
We're going to introduce ourselves very, very soon. We're just waiting for everybody to come on. Today I'm speaking to the awesome Zanri from Cape Town. Going to give us a little bit of inspiration about what she does. So very excited for that. If you can just give me a moment here so I can share these this live with some of my pages. So bear with me quickly. Let me just find out where we are. Okay, there we are. So I'm going to share it too. For those guys wanting to look at it on my Create Photography Academy, can also do that. Sorry, my knee is blowing all over the place here. Okay, this is going to be quite challenging because I can't see any of the questions that are coming through. So hopefully Tara's on the other end reading the questions and she's going to WhatsApp them to me and then I'm going to ask you.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. So I think let's just kick it off. I mean, without wasting any time. So, man, Zanri, very nice to meet you. First time I'm actually chatting to you live, or even. So, this is the incredible thing about
technology.
New Zoom stuff. You know, you don't have to wait until I get to Cape Town to meet up with you.
Exactly.
So, yeah, very excited to chat with you. We're just going to keep it quite light and kind of stuff like that.
Perfect.
I don't have any set questions I want to ask you, so we're just going to chat, and you're going to let me know what you do and what's your inspirations and stuff like that. So let's just chat about. Okay, wait. First thing, there's a lot of photographers that are on this page, and everybody wants to know what gear do you use. So let's start there. What do you?
Question everyone always asks.
It's only photographers though.
Only photographers. I actually watched a YouTube video the other day, and this one guy said, "Why do photographers always want to know what's in your camera bag?" And it's a question we all want to know here. Yeah. So I use a Nikon mirrorless camera, the Z6. So I have it here with me. And I just have one lens that I mainly use. I do have an extra lens, a 50 and nifty 50. Yeah. And I do have the Z lenses. So they are absolutely amazing. I use my 24-70 literally 80% of the time, just because it's so versatile. I can do landscape shots, portrait shots, and have a lot of space to work. Or I can also go very close for macro shots. I'm hoping Nikon brings out a 100mm macro very soon for the Z series, but yeah, that's basically what I use. And then obviously my Godox equipment. So yes, obviously. So I have the AD300s. I have two of them.
Okay, great.
And then I actually started out with a Godox V1.
Oh, cool.
So when I started out with product photography, I just used one V1 with the accessory kit. So, and obviously with the Godox AD300s, I have two soft boxes as well. So yeah, that's my gear. I like to keep it very simple and not complicated.
I think you're absolutely right. You know, I think there's a lot of people out there, especially when you're starting out, you know, gear becomes quite important, and you think that only when you get to this, and when I get this light, I'll be able to do that. And, you know, I can't do this because I haven't got this light. And here we're hearing from you. And I also started like that. You know, you had one flash and you made it work for what you needed it to do, you know.
Exactly. And
until your business grows. Yeah.
Before that, even I just used natural light. Like I was a believer for natural light, in all honesty. And I actually bought the flash to use it for wedding photography. Okay. And obviously due to COVID, that changed quite a bit. And then I thought, you know what, I am going to use natural light, but that V1 just gives it that extra pop or depth of field. Yeah. And I've been using it for a year And as you can see on the Instagram Godox page, I think it's like the 4th post, they did post a photo that I used just the Godox V1. So it is possible to have minimal gear. I mean, some photographers are starting out with phones just to do composition and take a photo. So you really don't have to have a lot of gear to start. Which is great.
Well, it's great that we're hearing it from you. You know, so it's something that I preach all the time. You know, whatever you've got in your bag, you've got to use it to the best of your ability and push it to its limits and get the shot that you want.
Yeah.
So you tell me now. So, how long have you been in photography? What was your? How did you get into it?
So it's a very funny story. But my dad bought like a kit lens, a Nikon kit lens from Macro back in like 2014, 2013-ish. And I started photographing my friends. We, over weekends, would just take the camera and have something fun to do in the estate and just photograph one another. And then in 2015, in my matric year, I really started loving photography. So I started mentoring for wedding photographers. Melissa Mayer and Daniel West is 2 of them. And I just fell in love with wedding photography and just making, telling a story through what I see through my lens. And then I went on to study art direction or communication design at Stellenbosch Academy of Design and Photography. Initially, I wanted to study photography, and then I just changed my mind and did art direction because I felt it was a good bundle of different things. I could do photography, illustration, and conceptualizing all at once. So I studied that, and throughout my studies, I started photographing weddings. I second shot, and in 2017, I had my first solo wedding. It was so daunting, but I absolutely loved it. And after graduating, I just realized that the ad agencies are nice, but with my personality, it just wasn't a great fit. So I then decided to go full-time with wedding photography. And that was now beginning of 2019. And I still went on, and I think 2020 came, and the last wedding I did before COVID hit was in January. And obviously then COVID happened. So just to answer your question, I've been photographing since 2016. And that's how it started.
I think you hit the nail on the head. With the storytelling of weddings, it's an awesome thing to do. You interpret that wedding according to what you see and things like that. What kind of style of photographer are you? Are you quite strict and rigid, or are you a bit you go with the flow and just pick random and candid photos? Or
so I would say I photograph what I see is beautiful and what I feel adds to the story, or what creates a story basically. So I try to find those in the moment shots. I don't like I'm not photographing weddings anymore, but I used to just do prompts to tell my couples to say something to one another or to just do something. I won't pose them. So I'm quite of a natural type of style. But when it comes to product photography, it's the opposite, because obviously it is styled, which is so bizarre. But I think it does fit into my personality, to be honest, because I am a perfectionist. So I do like it when things look exactly the way I imagine it to be.
I think that's the biggest thing for me as well when I'm shooting. And I do a lot of fashion and I do a lot of people. So a lot of stuff that I shoot. So I've got the picture in my mind, that I'm wanting to take, and then then I'm trying to capture it on to the back of my camera, and then it's such an exhilarating feeling when you've seen it in your head, and then it comes on the screen, and you're like, you know, I can actually do this.
Or I normally dream about photos.
Yeah.
I'm such a dreamer. So I dream about a concept and then I try it, and I'm so excited when it actually comes to life. And then I can share it with people.
So you started marketing yourself as a wedding photographer. So with your
not at all. No.
So from word of mouth.
Sorry?
Did you get your weddings from word of mouth before? I mean, from 2019 and so.
Yeah, so weddings was word of mouth, and I did have a website and an Instagram and a Facebook page. I think some of my wedding photos are still on my Facebook page, but due to moving from that to product photography, which will come to now, I just decided that I want to have a niche and I wanted to be product photography. So it was a very sad day for me to decide to not continue with wedding photography and to kind of just take it down, because obviously if your work is up in the internet, people still think you do it. So yeah, I wanted them to, if they search my name or Silk Creative Collective, that they see I'm a product photographer and not like a mixed genres. And as you would know, you've worked really hard to build up a portfolio, and I absolutely loved my style. And I still love my photos, but yeah, it's now just on my computer for me to see. Yeah.
So then suddenly COVID hit, and then I think everybody who was a photographer just kind of like wondered what the hell was going to happen to their business. I know it obviously affected me a lot.
It
think out of the box. So that was your big leap into product photography.
Yeah, so I did do, just to give you a bit of a backstory, I did do product photography while I was doing wedding photography as well. Mesh and Bone was my first client. And I think we started doing that back in 2019. But I just saw it as a lifestyle shoot, not thinking too much about it. And still to this day, I get inquiries of people referring back to that shoot and saying that's the kind of look and feel they want. But in anyway, so I did do product photography from 2019, but then COVID hit, and I had a lot of time on my hands. I was building my website and honestly not knowing what to do with myself. So then I got sent hand sanitizers by a brand called Amanda Jane. And I just started photographing that and really started liking the idea of styling a setup or designing a setup and then styling the product and taking photos of it. And thinking back to wedding photography days, I absolutely love the bridal details and the groom details, and then obviously the decor. So that was literally my favorite part of the day of a wedding. And now I was basically almost doing the same, but with just different types of products. And yeah, I started photographing, and I decided, you know what, I'm just going to post it on social media, on my Instagram. And I started posting and started following a few people, and the inquiries kind of just flew in from there. So yeah, that's my story basically.
That's interesting. So a lot of your stuff comes from social media. Is that where you're getting your business from? Majority of your business?
Yes, mostly. I find in today's day and age that Instagram and Facebook are a good marketing tool for any business, because I mean, with COVID, everything had to go online. Literally everyone. If you couldn't sell in person, obviously, and being online, the market is so saturated. Like, how are you going to stand out? You need content to stand out and for your customers to see. I mean, a few businesses didn't even have Instagram accounts or Facebook accounts, and nevertheless content to post on it. And I feel everyone thinks you always just need a website to basically look legitimate. But yeah, I have a website, but most of my inquiries come through social media, of just people seeing my work or maybe seeing a client I worked with. And I feel social media is also a good tool because they can see the person behind the brand as well. They can see it's a real person, so they can actually relate to you far better than a website, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, that's interesting. And then, so how much of a brief do they give you, or how much direction do they give you, and how much are you just taking what they give you and creating your own? How much leeway do they give you when they give you products?
I think it depends on who the client is, but coming back to, I did study art direction. So studying at Stellenbosch Academy, they really taught us how to set up a creative brief. Because if you don't understand what your client wants, you're not going to produce or answer their question or solve the problem they have. So you really need to understand, first off, what you want to do or what the client wants you to do. And then also look at the tone of voice of the brand. What is the colors they use? What is the type of look and feel? That's quite important. So I do a lot of planning before I just start shooting. Planning is like the foundation phase. Like, it's so important. And if you don't do that correct, your shoot is not going to be successful. So I do ask my clients quite a few questions regarding what they want. And then I also ask them to just send me a few inspiration images, just so that I can visually also see what they want. I then provide them with a mood board, which I will then use as inspiration, but apply it to their look and feel and their tone of voice, obviously. Because I feel like I'm always like a chameleon. I'm not a set photographer or a photographer with a set style. I really try to look at my client's style and fit into their type of feel. So yeah, it is quite important. I do try to set up a creative brief and fill in the gaps. And then there are some clients who literally, they're just like, you are creative, please just do your thing. And then there are other clients who restrict me quite a lot with certain colors that I can use and props that I'm allowed to use or so. But yeah, I think it challenges me, and there's opportunity for more creative ideas if they do restrict me. So either or.
Yeah, it's so interesting to listen to you, because whatever you are saying applies in my business as well. Even though we're shooting completely different things, it's so important for me to have a good plan going into a shoot. And I would always try and tell people that, like, the shoot is only 40% of the work. The rest
even
is
less.
in fact, even less. All the work is before, and then because if you do the work before, then the work on shoot day is easier.
Yeah,
you're absolutely right. I mean,
and with the planning stages, obviously, with every shoot, you need different props, different backdrops. Sometimes I do set design. So I literally have to paint something, or I have to make something or source something. And that's quite crucial beforehand. So yeah, the planning stage, I think, would be 50% the success rate of the shoot.
Yeah, and I don't think a lot of people, especially new photographers, they don't realize how much work goes into the final product. How much work are you doing behind the scenes before you see the pretty picture or the the portfolio work that you've done. So yeah, it's I'm listening to you, and we're shooting so vastly different things, but the process places seem for me to be exactly the same.
Similar. Exactly.
The very important. You got to understand. You got to have a good rapport with your client.
I think it's exactly the same with wedding photography as well. You need a timeline. You need that planning. You need to know how long you're going to be there. So yeah, I think what you're saying is correct. You can really apply it to any type of genre of photography.
Do you follow any other product photographers in South Africa or around the world just to get kind of ideas and things like that?
Yes, so I do. Most of the photographers I follow are international.
Yeah.
So my top 3 favorite photographers to follow are Amanda Campiano. I'm so sorry, Amanda. I don't know how to pronounce your surname. And then it's The Weekend Creative, and then Bon Bon Creative as well. Yeah.
I think that's also very important. You need to kind of, you always need to be looking to better yourself. And there's a lot of people out there now, and the world now with social media and all that, the internet, we can, when I started photography many years, there wasn't internet. I mean, the only place you could find resources was Vogue. For me, was like Vogue magazine and Cosmopolitan and things like that, where you're trying to get inspiration out of that. Now, for me as well, one of my biggest mentors lives in Germany. And he chats every now and then, and it's inspirational, because you're seeing, he's seeing you from a different point of view, and he's able to help you, and you're able to help him, and things like that. So the world has come so small now, so it's an awesome opportunity for us.
It really has opened the whole world for you. I mean, you can look at Pinterest, Behance, like there's so many materials that you can use for inspiration. But what I would like to add on to that is it's important to find inspiration and to find people that inspire you, because that motivates you to be more creative and think outside of the box. But it's important to have your own voice and your own style, because we've also been taught that while I studied that you shouldn't copy, you should just take inspiration. So just to put that out there.
No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. It's exactly the same for me. I don't want to, I've got some photographers that I follow, and I don't want to do what they're doing. I want to shoot my shots. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm looking at their light setup and how they're setting up their lights, or what their backdrops are, or what their composition is. And then I'll say, wow, I really like that. And then I'll try to do my interpretation of those lights and that thing, So you're exactly right. Inspiration and copying is very different.
I think it's very important just for new photographers starting out to know that, because if you don't have your own tone of voice or own type of style, you're going to fall into a trap where you're going to try to take inspiration and copy it, and you're never going to come up with your own creative ideas then. So yeah, that's just a quick tip that I want to.
No, good. It's a good tip. It's very important. And then I know my business, or part of my business, over the last couple of years, the business used to be based in my hometown. Now my business is outside of town. So I do a business here, but I'm also doing business in Cape Town and a bit of business in Johannesburg and that kind of. And that's obviously with you as well. I mean, people can send you products from pretty much anywhere.
Yeah, so I'm sitting in my studio right now. That's my little prop rack there. And I do most of my setups in here. I have local and international clients. Clients from Joburg, Australia, Germany. It literally has no boundaries. So yeah, it's so easy. You just courier your products to me. I shoot them in my studio. And for clients who request monthly content, I then store their products here with me to make it easier for them. And after a shoot, if the client wants the products back, they just request for the courier to come and collect it again. So that's what I found about product photography being so much fun, that I can literally work with so many people all around the world. I don't even have to leave my home to do work. Yeah.
Oh, that's incredible. We've got a question here from, let me put my glasses so I can flip and read what they're saying. Okay, so we got a question from Megan Gant. How would you guys recommend photographers find their own style?
I think it's what resonates with your personality, or I think the best thing to do is to save a few images that you really like, and then to really analyze the images and see what you like about the images. Is it the light? Is it the styling? What excites you about it? And then start writing it down. If you like light and airy or dark and moody, then you can start adding these things to your style, but try to do it maybe in a different way. I don't know. Yeah. That's it. What would you say, Craig?
I'm gonna answer you as well. I'm just gonna ask one more question. Do you think photographers sometimes put too much emphasis on trying to find a style?
Yes. Okay. Definitely.
I think, so that's what I.
Yeah, I think sometimes you try too hard to see like what type of style am I, or what editing style. And maybe at the end of the day, you should just try to be spontaneous and just go with the flow without even overthinking it.
I agree with you completely. You know, I think people get, or some photographers might get very bogged down in not having a style.
Yeah.
And then saying, well, I need to find a style before I can start working, or before, you know, it seems to be important. I'm not quite sure where we're getting it from. I don't know what's putting the pressure on us that we have to find a style. Because
I also think what's important is there shouldn't be a timeline on getting your tone of voice or style. So one of my mentors, Daniel West, I remember just starting out, he was constantly hammering on me to say, like, Zanri, you need to find your own sense of style. And after like 6-7 years of photographing, I'm only really finding my style and who I am now, after years and years of experimenting, going dark and moody, going light and airy, from natural light to artificial light. I think at the end of the day is also just experimenting and see what you can do. And at the end of the day, just see what resonates with your personality or what you like more. And then people will also start loving it because that's what's true to you.
Exactly. I also think, you know, you're absolutely right. I also think that your style will also evolve over the years. I think if I speak to you in another 5 years, your style would have evolved into something else. You know what I mean? We're moving forward. It's never going to be, I'm still shooting like I did 5 years ago. Because of inspiration and because of you learning more and you're beginning a little bit more creative, your style will evolve. And I found that with myself, you know. Nobody ever asked me when I started photography what my style was. I just ran around and end of the day, I shoot what I like.
Yes.
Okay, so that's it. I shoot what I like, what inspires me, what I see in my mind. And then I find customers who like that.
Yes,
I don't try and have a style so that I can get customers. You know what I mean? I think it's
your target market will find you.
Exactly. You know what I mean? You will get to a point where things. I mean, I get a lot of, you know, when I put stuff on social media, some people say, "Oh, you can see that your photo," and for me, that's a good thing, you know. Because they can recognize it by how I shot it, how the lights are, whatever, what the mood is, or whatever. They can say, "Oh, that's a Craig Andersen photo." And I think, you know, as you grow and get better and better and better at what you're doing, you're going to create that. People are going to look at your product
Definitely.
photos and they're going to go, wow, that's the girl from Cape Town. You know what I mean? That's Zanri from Cape Town. So
I can already like add to that. I started just photographing like neutral colors, like whites, no black, no contrast, just neutral types of tones, and I still love it. But these days I'm so drawn to color. So we'll get to the photos later, and you'll see different types of styles. But I've recently come to love color, and a year or two ago, if you would have asked me, Zanri, are you ever going to do a colorful shoot and post it on social media? I would have laughed and said, hell no. And now I have really evolved. And I think it's also with trends and what's going on in the world that you also have to evolve. I think especially like tying in with COVID, if you were a photographer that wasn't open to change or open to new things, you would have struggled really hard. Where in this day and time, we live in such a volatile world that we constantly do need to change. We don't need to necessarily reinvent ourselves, but you do need to kind of keep up with the times and keep up with the trends, but still you're keeping your uniqueness to what you like.
yeah, I think it's important. You know, be true to yourself. You'll find the customers will find you. Your work will get better. You will start working. I find when you're shooting for what you like, your work is just so much better than trying to shoot some kind of style that somebody showed you and say, can you shoot this? And I'll go, well, yeah, I can try. You know, then you give a 50% photo and then you don't get business from that. Rather say, I don't do that. You know, rather go and let me give you the number of somebody who does that kind of photography.
Yes. So that's why creative brief is so important, because if a client doesn't align to my type of look and style, I unfortunately won't take on the work just for that reason. And then during the creative brief as well, if I know that's something that I can't provide, I know I'm not going to satisfy my clients. So then I'd rather suggest another photographer that fits into what they want. And then I know they'll be satisfied. Yeah.
Yeah, listen, man, you're wise beyond your years. You know, let's see if I can share your
photos.
Your photos, yeah. So give me a second while I try and locate them, and let's see if they're up there. Can you see that?
Yes, I can see that.
Okay. So this looks flipping amazing. So tell us a little bit about this. This looks like, is this natural light?
This is all natural light. So this is when I just started out, I just used natural light. And this was for a brand called Mesh and Bone. So this is my first client. That is actually facial soap that I photographed. I heard the other day someone saying it looks like fudge. So that's great. Yeah, we basically just used natural light. The window was on the right hand side. We had a bit of foliage like bunny tails. That's the shadow cast. And yeah, just natural light.
I love it, Dave. You know, if you've seen any of my work, I love shadows. The more shadows I've got in here, I mean, it's a beautiful, and you're right, it looks edible, this stuff.
So shadows is actually my favorite prop to play with. Before I even add any other props in, I try to see what I can do with just lighting and try to, create visual appealing photos.
Oh, let's have a look at this one. This is interesting. I like this.
Oh, thank you. So that was a collaboration with my client. She came up with this idea of letting juice fall into this vitamin C bottle.
Yeah.
So I should give credit to Kezia. But yeah, we just loved shooting it. And this is also just natural lights.
Okay. And simple backdrops. It's well shot. I like the way the detail. I mean, the colors in this fruit are so awesome.
Thank you.
I love this.
Thank you. So this is for opera candles, and
Yeah.
I shot this literally in my front door. So this is also natural light. We're coming to the artificial light later, but this is also natural light. And then those triplex boards that you buy at P&A.
Yeah.
I just used that with a C-stand to basically manipulate the type of shape that casts onto the board.
I love it. I love the simplicity of it. It's just, it works.
Yeah,
we always think we need these elaborate flipping sets and whatever. And we can. The beauty about photography is you can take this at your front door. I love that.
Exactly. So I think that setup literally cost me below 100 Rand. It's two papers and triplex board. Triplex board is a bit more expensive, but you buy it once and it lasts for a few months. So that's literally all I had, and that's what I used.
Love it. I love the simplicity. Okay, this face mask, chilly face mask. I think that's for chill.
Yeah. So it's for my client Chill, and this is also natural light, if I remember correctly. This was I'm actually going to tell you where I photographed all of this, just to show you that I really just shot these all in my home. This was shot in my bedroom window.
Okay.
Or next to my bedroom window. Yeah. And I think I shot it on a triplex board, and I just had glass objects as props.
Okay.
And then I started playing around with the shapes and the textures and shadows.
I love it, eh? Shadows are everything, eh? I love this. It's great.
Thank you. Yeah, that again is the same setup, basically. And I love, like, for photographers I get so many DMs asking, where do you buy all your props? Or what should you buy as props? And when I go into spa or any shop, basically, I always find myself walking out with a prop or two. And it can literally be anything. It can be a glass with texture or pattern on it, and you can use that for a shoot.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. It's almost like the thing that you would never really use or serve in your house works great as a prop in a photo. It's like
that odd glass that you'll never see.
It's like when I'm shooting fashion and stuff, the more weirder you can make the stuff, that you'd never go out in it. You'd never be seen dead going out like that. But you take a photograph of it and it looks amazing. I mean, I've got a wardrobe here of thrift shop clothing from back from the 50s, clothes from the 50s to, I mean, it's brilliant, But this is great. I love the simplicity of this.
Thank you. So this was actually an on-location shoot in Woodstock, and it was for a client with the name of Martin Dollar, and he is actually designing lighting for corporate and commercial places, I think. So we shot this in his studio, and again, I only used natural light for this. So this was basically photographing the process they go through to designing lighting.
Cool.
So I just wanted to showcase a few different types of photos, just to show you that I don't just do skincare. So this is for the same client. We photographed all of the materials they use for the lighting. And I just love that it's such odd materials, and take that and try to make it interesting and visually appealing and make it art, basically. So this is actually one of my favorite photos of me.
I love this. It's beautiful.
Okay, so this is for one of my international clients, Claire Hill. And yeah, she just wanted a dark brown tonish photo and natural elements. I did use a continuous light with the shoot. So that's what cast the shadow at the back with the palm leaf. But I don't think I used a strobe for the shoot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nicely detailed as well.
You can alternatively, if you don't have studio lighting or continuous lighting, you can do that with natural light as well. It's just going to depend on the day and time and weather, obviously. Yeah. Okay, so we're getting into the artificial lighting photos now.
Okay, I love this. This is flipping amazing. What is this circle?
It's actually a mirror.
Okay.
It's a mirror, and then I just casted or I put a color card over where the reflection would be, just so that it's completely pink. So this is for a client, Bold Beauty by Iman. That's all. I absolutely love her shoots. This is a client that literally gives me free reign. She doesn't have a very detailed creative brief, and then I can just play. So yeah, most of my creative ideas are in these photos.
You know, what strikes me on your work is the simplicity of it, but yet so captivating. You know what I mean? It's not.
Yeah.
It tells an awesome story. And it's simple. And
so I want to emphasize the product that's getting sold, and with simplicity or keeping things simple, I feel that works because the emphasis needs to be on the product and not on the background or the prop that you're using. I actually shot this with the V1, just one V1, nothing else.
That's great, man. Okay.
So here I'm playing with pattern and textures, and again all of the Bold Beauty photos are just with one V1 and I think a triplex board on the other side just to bounce the light back.
Yeah. Beautiful. Yeah.
And then sometimes I get in front of the camera as well. So most of the time, yes, hand model, and you'll see now another model as well. But then I put my camera on a tripod, I hook up the Nikon Bridge app, and then I do it on a self timer.
That's fantastic. Yeah, do what you have to. Do what you have to. I love this. The simplicity again just stands out.
Yeah, that's me also in front of the camera. Oh, and goodness, this one was very hard. How do you make a headband look good? And it's like pattern, it's busy, it's colorful. So I had quite a hard time photographing this, but I absolutely love how it came out, contrasting with the pink and the purple.
Yeah, it's nicely matched there.
Okay, so now we're getting into a bit of a different type of shoot.
Okay.
So this was for my client, Vincent De Silva. He makes sculptures here in Stellenbosch. Yeah. And this was an on-location shoot at his studio. And I used my 8300s for this. So I used my two strobes with my two soft boxes. I think it's the S85, if I'm not mistaken, the soft boxes.
Yeah. Okay.
In conjunction with my V1. So this was a 3-light setup.
Okay. Also awesome.
And again, yet again.
Same shoot.
Yes, same shoot, just different styling setups. Yeah, we photographed about like 60 statues, so we had so many styling to do.
I love your elements that you add in here, just kind of,
That's actually some of his prints that he sells as well, but I saw it as an opportunity to use as a prop as well. Yeah.
It looks great.
And this is my most recent shoot for Corobrook SA.
Okay.
And
cool.
I've never photographed bricks before, and they came with this idea to me, and they said they think I would be the best photographer suited for this, and I absolutely love this shoot.
Oh, wow.
I played with bricks and I made them art, and I absolutely loved it. I also used my two 8300s and my V1 for this.
Okay.
I think this was with the soft boxes on.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll be sharing more content of the shoot very soon. So yeah, just keep a lookout on my Instagram and Facebook. And yeah. So you can see I do quite a big variety of products. But throughout, even if the color changed or the product changed, throughout, I think you can see my tone of voice or my sense of style as a photographer going and leading through all the photos. Yeah.
It's definitely okay. I think I'm going to stop sharing this now. Let's just get back to us. Yeah, that was flipping amazing. I think your style, you've got an amazing style, and you can see it coming through. I love the simplicity of how you work and throwing in elements that are in color and stuff like that, which is great. So how do you find working with the Godot stuff?
I absolutely love it. I have let me just quickly get it here.
Yeah.
I have the 8300s, and while I was studying at Stellenbosch Academy, we used newer. I can't even remember. It was really old studio lighting, and I actually didn't like studio lighting, if I'm honest with you. I did not like it, and I just felt like it's not portable. I can't just go on location and shoot. I need a power socket, or I need this, and then you had the battery operated as well, but that was quite expensive, and I didn't have the money to buy that. And then Godot came out with their new range, and it's so portable. I mean, look how light this thing is. This is the 8300 Pro. It's battery operated, and it's so compact and small, yet so powerful. So I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah, I think the same for me. I started, I had the 8200s, which are also small and compact. But this thing is just next level for me. I really, really enjoy it. I mean, I've got the 8600 in my studio that I use quite a lot. But Fast and Furious, the 300 is doing as good a job for me as the 600 has always been doing. So,
So as I shoot quite small products, I felt this was more than efficient for what I do, and I have a very small and confined space as well. So I felt the 8600 or even the 8400 would be a bit of a overpowering for me. So yeah, this was the best.
I mean, I'm shooting the 8300 and I'm shooting fashion in my studio with the 8300, something that I would never have thought I could do. And I've shot the 8300. In fact, I had a beach shoot this morning, but I've shot the 8300 at the beach at 11 o'clock. Okay?
Yeah.
And overpowering the sun. So I'm shooting high speeds at the beach with the sun behind the model, me shooting. I mean, who would have thought?
It's very powerful. And especially if you do on location, you don't want a very big light if you have an assistant holding it, or this is also not quite heavy. So if you put it on a stand, let's say you are on location, I know the chances of this falling over because it's top heavy is much less than the 8600 or compared to it.
Yeah, no, they're brilliant, man. They're brilliant.
But then I also need to talk about if you're just starting out and you just need something simple, this little baby is amazing. I mean, the V1, I love it, but with the accessory kit. The accessory kit makes it I mean, compared to the 8200, it does not exactly the same, but it's very similar. The 8200 obviously has more watts.
So you got all
compared.
The barn and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I shoot mostly with the dome.
Okay.
The dome. Mostly with the disc, and then I think with the honeycomb one as well. That's my three favorites.
Directional light, yeah.
Just I feel the honeycomb really gives it a pop if I use that one. So yeah, that's my three favorite modifiers. For wedding photography, I obviously used quite a bit of different modifiers, and then I also have the gel kit. That's super cool. So it's like different colored gels that you put in front of your, let me just quickly show you here for the other people. So it's just like different colored gels that you put in this little modifier. And then I try to put it on continuous mode, or what do you call it, bulb mode, lamp mode, can't even remember now, to create a cool color cast. So yeah, it's very versatile. You can do a lot with it if you're just starting out. And as I said, I still use it in my lighting setups, just to fill in that last little bit that I need.
Yeah, and I think, you know, you've also mentioned something that's so interesting, which I think a lot of photographers who are getting into strobes or using off-camera flashes, is that they're always the conundrum of, should I buy the V1 or should I buy the 8300 or the 200? And what I'm listening to you is you started out with the V1. The V1 hasn't become obsolete for you. It wasn't money wasted. You know what I mean? You've bought it, you used it, you bought two 8300s, and you're still using your V1. So that's the beauty about when you're following through with the Godox range, because you can trigger them with all the same trigger. It's not a whole different setup. It's not that you bought the V1 and now you have to buy the 300. Now the V1 gets packed away. It doesn't. The V1 stays out and it works as hard. You're just using it differently.
Yes, and I'm all for sustainability. Like, I hate buying something that in the long run I'm not going to use for a long while. And that's exactly with my props and my backdrops as well. I like being sustainable. So what I love about the Godox range, especially this range, is it can be triggered with just one trigger. I don't need to buy a receiver and a transmitter, and no, that honestly confused me so much. So Godox is simple, it's easy to use. I didn't even have to read the manual before using it. I love Godox.
Oh, that's brilliant, man. You know what? I think it was awesome talking to you. I've been looking forward to chatting to you since Tara asked me to host this. So, you know, it's gone very well. You're so insightful. You know, the way that you've taken your business, and you started your business from weddings, and through COVID you've migrated over to and you must probably found, you know, let's be honest, maybe COVID has rushed you into your passion. You know, maybe you would have been wedding photographer for another 4 years. You know what I mean? Now COVID has like pushed you, and now you headlong into what you're wanting to do.
I know COVID has been hard for a lot of people globally, but I think it's the best thing that has ever happened to me, because it made me realize, first off, in life what's important, but second off, what I really want to do and what makes me happy. Because at the end of the day, being a creative, my mind is constantly, I have 1,001 tabs open in my head, and I will always be a creative, and that's what makes me happy. So finding a job that I enjoy doing every single day it feels like a vacation every day, because I absolutely love what I do. So I'm so grateful, although it was not such a nice experience for other people. But yeah, I think I did find my niche, and I'm just working and building on that. But I'm still learning every single day. I buy workshops, I talk to my mentors, and it's important to know as a photographer that you won't know everything. You're constantly going to have to learn, constantly going to evolve, and change things up to stay relevant.
I think that when the day comes that you think you know everything, it's when you start failing.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
I
for
think,
me, every day is a school day.
yeah, and let me just lastly, before we say goodbye, I think Tara also just asked me how one would become a product photographer, or how does one start? And I've been thinking about it, and I think the best advice that I can give any photographer is just start.
Yeah.
Get your camera, grab a product, and start photographing and experimenting, and just put your work out there.
Yeah.
If only 5 people like it, great. If one of those 5 people sees you and sees potential, it can grow into something bigger. I mean, when I just started, here was Mesh and Bone, a product, skincare product, asking me as a photographer to photograph for them, but just because they saw potential in what I could do. So yeah, I think that would be the best advice I could give is start. Grab your camera and
shoot.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, with that, I think wise words for everybody. It's been absolutely awesome chatting to you. Hopefully, when I make it to Cape Town one day, I'm going to come and visit and see what your studio looks.
Yes,
and
please
maybe
come.
have a coffee and stuff and chat. Look forward to seeing your work on Instagram and on social media. I think you should start making a couple of behind-the-scenes videos. We can see how you set your stuff up and how your Godox lights are working. So you need to get onto that.
I have a lot of behind the scenes on my Instagram and my stories. If some of you want to go check out, and I do create a few reels to show you behind the scenes as well. So awesome. Yeah, if you want to see behind the scenes, go follow me on Instagram.
Awesome. Nice chatting to you, Zanri. Keep well, man.
Same. Lovely meeting you.
You too. Cheers, man. Nice chatting. Okay. Ciao.
Bye.
Okay.